This is Old Myths and New Legends with Charlie and Rob. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Rob. And previously, we've swapped books on a monthly basis to try out what we both like. However, this month we've done something different, and we have both chosen a book that we've not read, which is
Malice. I'm going to let you say the author's name because I mess it up.
by John Gwynne. And we both read the book, and we're
We
going to
did.
discuss it. So, Charlie, we'll start with the question we always start with: did you enjoy this book?
I freaking loved this book. I
Excellent.
really freaking loved this book. Rob, did you enjoy this book?
I did. I loved it. I cleared it
Yeah!
in the space of about a day and a half.
Valid. I cannot say I did the same. I tried, and I could not put it down. But my God, it took me so long. Like it took me about a week and a half all in to actually read it, it is fairly long. That's fairly a long time for me.
Yeah, it was an exceptional book, exceptionally well written. You can see why he won an award for this as
Absolutely.
as his debut novel.
Absolutely. And it's the fact it's his debut. I won't like blew me out. You wouldn't have thought it. You absolutely I don't think reading that book you would have thought he's never done this before.
No, 100%. It's like I was like, wow, this is something absolutely next level. So we'll start with, what were your key highlights before we go into too much detail? What did you think were the really good bits about the book?
I think one of my favourite things about this entire book is that it's long, but everything matters. So I don't think there was really a single thing that happened throughout that book that I thought, oh, that didn't matter, that's a filler. Everything had intention. Like everything I was reading had an intention, and it mattered. And it came up. It either came up later or it added to something else, and it makes something make sense. And I think that was probably one of my favourite things about it, because no matter where in the book you were learning something that was going to move you through it.
Yeah, 100%. For me, I agree. I really like the really short chapters. My thing usually with point of view is that you get like a really long chapter of somebody's point of view, and you only then want to read about them and be like, what happens next in their story, rather than jumping to somebody else. Because the chapters were quite short, you never got to the stage where you're like, oh, I just want to know what happens to this person. I don't care about everybody else. You're so engaged with every single part and everybody's story that you kind of like, actually, I don't, I'm not so focused on one character that I don't want to know what's happening with the rest of them.
No, honestly, I can't. I don't think I could agree with you more. Like, if anything, there was actually side characters I was super invested in, where I was like, yes, okay, that's the main story, but what's going on over here? And I love a bit of that because, again, I think it brings more context to a story. I talk about how I love multiple characters and I love multiple POVs anyway, because I like to get to know everybody. I like them to mean something and to matter, and every character in this book matters, whether that's for good or bad. They all have an impact, and you are invested in each of them individually. And with the chapters, as you say, with the chapters being shorter, it's not as if you're getting so far through and not and not understanding what's just happened. You're not having to go back and check what they've been through. It's not Game of Thrones, where I got to a point where I was reading Game of Thrones and I was writing notes consistently about what each character was doing, because it was so long before you'd go back to that person. It's not like that. You maybe get 3 or 4 chapters max, and they're not massive, so you're not missing or forgetting anything.
Yeah, I agree. For me, it was, I think the main characters were great. The side characters were great. There was no, I think you said, there was no wasted breath. Like, there was at no point did I think, why, just why.
Literally not once.
I felt that with a lot of books recently, and I'm like, this time I was like, do you know what? At no point was I was so engaged with each of the main characters, and it didn't feel, obviously you had the main character of Corbin, but I didn't feel like anybody else was so much of a side character. Like, obviously there were side characters, but the other people's point of views, you still felt like they had gave some main character energy as well, which was
Absolutely.
really which really helped. And obviously the people who were around Corbin giving their point of view of the situation as well of him. It was kind of like, it was such a, yeah, it was a really nice way of reading a book. And it's a fairly new thing for me because obviously I've read point of view books before, but not in this quite
Like
as,
capacity.
yeah, almost chaotic way of jumping around between different
Yeah.
things.
And there's like, I think, is there 6 or 7 different perspectives throughout.
Yeah,
Obviously
so
you've got Veridis, where it's technically, in that sense, it's technically 2 POVs you're getting, even though it is his perspective. You get his on what's going on with Nefer. So like, but I'm pretty sure there's like 6 or 7 POVs.
yeah, so there's Corbin, Kywin,
Yep.
Veridis, Castell, Evnis,
Yep.
Maquin,
Camlin.
and Cameron.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so if you could pick one character out of it that you engaged with the most, who did you enjoy the most?
Oh, the healer, Brianna. Oh, the healer, like having a daft crow. And I know that's really, like, I won't lie, so much happens in this story that is so good and that they deserve our attention, but she had me because she was just such no nonsense. Like, she was a bit of a gossip in places. Knew exactly who she was, and I think because there was so much growing in this story. There's a lot of learning and there's a lot of growing for each character, and you learn a lot about each of them. She was like the one constant from fairly early on, and I think I just enjoyed every scene she was in, to be fair.
Yeah, I agree. She was great. Um, yeah, I liked. To be honest, I liked Maquin. I really liked his kind of like.
Yeah.
Uh, he was it was a little bit different. It's like because you, and I like the kind of thing that you weren't quite sure how old he was because
Yes.
yeah, you didn't know if he was like 40s or 50s or maybe late 30s, early 30s. Just kind of like you had no real, but you got just that he was a slightly older figure in Castell's life.
Yeah, it was like his in a sense, because I know he had his uncle, but like in a direct sense, because he was it was like his, what was it, swordsman. He'd been with him his entire life, hadn't he?
Yeah,
Um, Shieldsman.
yeah, Shieldman.
That, I don't know why that was going to really bother me, but it was. But yeah, so he'd been with him his entire life, so we know that he's definitely as old as Castell has been born. So he was definitely an adult-ish when he
Yeah,
started that role. But we just, yeah, you're right, we have absolutely no idea. And I love the fact that like their dynamic, they were just back to back all the way through. He really cared about Castell, didn't he, as well? Like, yeah, I'm with you. One of my, yeah, I love them all except one.
who did you not like?
Nefer.
Oh yeah, but I mean, you're not meant to like Nefer,
No,
are you?
you're not meant to like Nefer, but like right from the off, I was like, oh, he's a little prick.
Yeah, there was no redeeming features about him from the beginning. It was very clear. Um, see, I had that same issue with Jael as well, Castell's cousin.
Yes.
So I think they were very similar characters. Obviously, Jael was a little bit more cowardly.
If there was an ever word for a character that started with C and ended with T,
Yes.
it him from the off. And you're right, coward, absolute coward. Because if he had to face Castell one-on-one, actually, in a fair fight that wasn't premeditated by him, he'd have been on his ass. He nearly killed him twice. Like,
Yeah. And
oh,
I think
yeah, he annoyed me. And this is the thing, I won't, like, I fully feel the emotions of these characters. They fucked me off. Like, Jail fucked me off. And, like, and I got that because, in a sense, John made us care about these characters so damn much in such a clever way.
yeah. I really like the way he wrote Evnis, the counselor. Like, I get that he's a bad guy, but you fully understand why he's a bad guy, and like the fact that there could have been a redemption arc if he'd just been allowed to save his wife. That was kind of like you're like, oh, you missed an opportunity there to nip this all in the bud straight away.
What what did you think? Because obviously it was very obvious at the beginning that because the prologue is him making that
Yeah,
like that blood oath to Azroth, the god, the bad god to be specific. So we've got Azroth, and then we've got Elion. I think Elion. Would you say it like that, Elion?
Elion, yeah, Elion, Elon,
Elion, Elon.
yeah. I mean,
However you fancy.
essentially, it's just God and the
Hope.
devil.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
but honestly, I like so we knew from the off he was the bad guy. We just didn't know how or what would happen from that. And then obviously there's a time jump, the 18 years between when he's done that and when
yeah,
our story is based. You're right, and I think the way that was all set up as well, you kind of forget that Rin was involved. And
mm,
it's only as because you only get snippets of what Evnis is doing because you don't actually get so we get full chapters of like Corbin, of Veridis, of like well mainly just them two. We get full chapters of those two. Everybody else you kind of just get snippets from, except maybe Cohen. However you
yeah,
want to say that one as well. But you only get snippets. But Evnis's very specifically was barely more than 2 pages. His chapters were barely more than 2 pages, so you are getting a small amount of information about what's going on in this guy's head, and I think that was just a perfect way to write one of the villains
yeah. I
because
agree.
you just get like breadcrumbed little bits of evil or little bits of thought processes, and I just you can't work it out. You don't know what's going to happen as such. I don't think I knew how this book was going to go. There was no real obvious foreshadowing to me. I except for the bits that I will get to, which is the dark sun and the bright star, which was very I feel like was very obvious. But we'll get there.
Yeah, I liked Camlin as well.
Yeah, he actually had his own, like, in a sense, he had his own, like, moral growth throughout his small little chapters. It's the
Mm,
way he went from being the person, like, that was technically, he was part of the Rogues, he was in the Darkwood, that's where he lived, and he served Braith. Braith.
yeah,
Sorry,
brave.
these names are coming off the top of my head. Well done, me. My notes app is closed, just so you can see. That was off the top of my head. Sorry, well impressed with my brain. But he was serving Brave, but then he started to understand that he didn't agree with what they were doing and the plans that they were going through, and that kind of started when he got captured. Didn't it? So as he got captured, things were happening that was making him think, I don't think I actually like this all that much. And then,
Well, it
well,
started earlier than that. It wasn't when he was captured. It was when they killed Corbin's friend and his family because
yes, it was Dylan.
yeah, because
Oh,
Camlin was always said he didn't like killing women and children, and that was the first time like he started questioning it because they'd gone and killed
yeah.
that entire family.
Yes, sorry, I'm looking for the note. Yeah, there it is. There it is. So yeah, it was Dylan. I won't lie. That it's the fact that can we just start from the beginning? Should we just start from the beginning? Because I feel like we haven't spoke about Raph. We haven't spoke about how it got there, right? And Raph, what? Talk about a dickhead and his dad. Yeah, like I hated that. I don't know you're supposed to, but like it made me feel like I was getting bullied in school again. I was reading it and I was like, this is fucking awful.
Yeah,
This is
it was.
awful.
Yeah, but the introduction of Storm, that I love the whole having an animal friend.
Yeah.
I think always works.
Well, it's the fact that like it happened so authentically. So he saved the pregnant wolfen, didn't he? When he
Hmm.
was in the Bagland. and Corbin, just in case you guys are in the picture. Um, so Corbin saved the Wolfen, and then later on they're in a hunting party, aren't they? And they're about to kill this group of Wolvens, one including the mother that had just had these pups. All end up dead but one pup. Corbin immediately goes and rescues it. And it is such a moment for him to become a man in that process as well. I think it mattered so much more than him just getting this creature that loves him and grows to really care for him and be a protector, and like be his like right hand in a sense. It's the moment where he learns to stand up and have the courage for something that he feels is right.
Yeah, I agree. I think
What a beautiful moment.
it was, and it not just that, but throughout, like teaching him responsibility, um, that he kind of hadn't had previously. Um, I think it was a really big growth moment in the character, and because I'll be honest, he was getting a little bit bland before that, which I think was done on purpose to kind of like, so when he had a growth within his story, you're actually like, actually, there's something about him now. Whereas before he was just like a little bit of a, you know,
Got a bit sulky, didn't he? Prior to that, he did get a bit sulky. Got a bit. I
bit
don't really
Frodo,
know what I'm
bit
doing.
bit Frodo-esque.
Yes, actually, I think that's a great way of putting it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think they did it for good reason because realistically, he was aiming towards his name day, wasn't he?
Mm.
And I think they almost slowed down how good it was going to be. For our benefit, so that in a sense it didn't happen all at once. We did get the snippets of being like, oh wow, he's grown up. Oh wow, oh my god, okay, he's doing this next thing. Okay, he's got a wolfen. Okay, he stood up to the queen, and he stood up to an entire hunting party that was quite happily knock him down to get this pup. Like his courage shows throughout time, but it just doesn't get there. I think his main growth prior to that, the most interesting part was his time with Gar. Do you know, like doing the training, learning to manage his emotions, and but even after a while, you did get to a point where you're like, I'm okay, I'm ready for you to move up now. What's happening? What's going on next?
Yeah, I agree. I think there was definitely some really like, I did like Gar. I think that he was a really good
Brilliant
character.
capture. I have got a prediction about Gar. That's it.
Are you going to tell us what that prediction is?
No, because I realised I wrote it down, and then actually at the end of the book, that's just come from my head. So I just got really excited over something that I already know ain't true.
What again?
That's why
What
I
was
stopped,
it?
because I had that minute of realisation that actually that's not true. He was part. So he is part of the Jahar, isn't he? The ancient civilization of warriors, basically, is the only way I could explain what that is. But in my head, prior to us finding that out, and I just saw the note on my phone, and that's what made me think, oh yeah, I gotta predict. Yeah, I got excited over something that I know is not true. But I was convinced, and I mean absolutely convinced, that he was going to be one of the Ben Elim.
Oh, he was going to be a an angel.
An angel. I was convinced. And it could still be, I won't like, it could still be a possibility in book two. But I really was absolutely sold on it for ages. Because I don't
That's
believe Calidus is. And I didn't believe Calidus is. I believe Calidus is using enchantments to mimic it. I don't think he is that.
okay.
Have you started book two?
Do you want to know a little bit of a fun fact?
Yes.
I finished the entire first series and I'm on to the second trilogy already. Well, you set me at, like, we did this like a month ago, and I read the first
We
one in a
did.
day and a half, and then I read the second one, and then the third one, and then the fourth one, and then there's a second series set in the same world, and I'm on book 2 of 3 of that one. So
So what we can say is that this offer for Robert is a winner.
oh yeah, 100%. Like
I
will
mean,
be
I won't
reading.
like. I'm open to read everything he's written. I'll be fair.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll be very like. I'll be finished once I finish this series. I'll be starting his latest series as well. When I say his latest series, I think he finished in 2021. I don't know if he's got one since then. But anyway, yes, I've absolutely smashed this series. Like I was like, because I was traveling so much, I was spending like 7 hours like a day traveling for like.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was smashing through like easily. Well, when did no? I've read all pretty much those 6 books since around the 14th of July. So in two weeks, I've read 6 books, 6 of his books.
Just to clarify, people, they're not small. They're not
No,
little. He's powering through. These are not little books. That is a lot of reading.
yeah, each one's rough.
Honestly, well
Each one,
done.
I think each one's about 6 hours on the Kindle. So yeah,
Yeah.
so I've done a lot of reading. So yes. So I'm not going to confirm or deny any of your guesses because I already know all the answers.
You do. Oh, that's even more infuriating. Because it's like, oh yeah, exciting. We both read the same book. We get to talk about it. You've nearly finished. Well, you have finished the trilogy. You've finished.
Yeah. But yeah, going back
Is
to
there not
the
4 books? Is there not 4 books in this
yeah,
one?
there's four books in this one, and the second one is a trilogy.
Ah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
So yeah, so I think there's 7 books in this world in total. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's very, very good. But anyway, back to Malice. Yeah, I think for me, as I said, for an introductory book, it was great. I know you liked Brina, however you pronounce it.
I listened
Craft,
to the audiobook as well as reading it. I immersively read it because I won't lie, I actually just really enjoyed doing it that way. So I had the audiobook on while I was sat reading it on like 2 times the speed because I kept reading ahead. So I had to keep upping the speed. But I listened to the audiobook and I still can't remember all they said the names. I know Kywin is Cohen, even though I keep saying Kywin. Like, I can't help myself. Obviously Corbyn's Corbyn, or Ban, whichever you want to say. Nefer, Veridis, Castellar is easy. Is there anyone else I can't say? No, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, we're
yeah,
good.
yeah. I think I loved Kraft as the crow. I thought that was a genius. He was so sarcastic and
And it's the
lazy.
fact that he was like a little bit useless, but not.
Yeah, and I think and he was just like he was so grumpy. I was just like I can live like if I had a crow like Kraft, I would be happy for the rest of my life.
You
Like
would, wouldn't you? I think anyone would want a talking crow.
not just a talking crow that would just insult people just for the fun of it.
Yeah, true.
No
Yeah, because
reason.
that
Just
is all he did.
yeah, it's just like I'm just gonna have a dig at you. I'm gonna have a dig at you. Why not? Why not?
What? Yeah,
So
indeed.
so yeah, yeah, and then like I like when they get introduced because obviously they're kind of like not too far removed from when Storm gets introduced as well. So you kind of like getting the people who are going to shape his life together,
Yes.
but not kind of like some books will just be like, oh look, he appeared with this party of rogues and strangers who all, but they introduced them slowly and like
And
built.
he built authentic connections with people,
Yeah,
didn't he? It was never just yes. Well, don't get me wrong. He did have his friends. Like he had his
yeah,
friends. But Daff and Dylan. But then obviously Dylan lasted like 4 chapters. So
and
they had
then
Daff
Farrell.
and then
That's
Farrell later on. But that was a bit of a process for them to become friends, wasn't it?
yeah,
And then everybody else around him came around him. Like Gar was always there, but Gar was a stable hand and he wasn't necessarily the man he ends up being in his life there and then. That develops in its own way, doesn't it?
yeah,
Trying to think of anyone else. Oh, and then there's Adana,
yes.
which
Who? Yeah, I quite like the fact that they hinted at romance, but there was no actual romance.
me too. Honestly, me too. I was like, oh, is it there?
Yeah, they kind of like hinted that there might be the princess and the stable hand type romance, but then it just
Yeah.
kind of like I quite like the fact that it didn't go anywhere because it kind of gave that real life vibe to it.
It was the
Of
fact that so much was happening, especially I will say to Adana. Like, don't get me wrong, Corbin was going through his own stuff, but that was his life. In her world, her world was being turned upside down pretty constantly, and quite changed quite drastically. But she ended up being a really good friend to Cohen and Corbin, and the dynamic that they end up having with Rowan,
yeah,
um, Ronan. Yeah, it's all really, really lovely, and I really enjoy their mix and how they almost become a little bit of a gossip circle, but in a spyy way.
yeah, yeah. I really liked the there was very little romance in it at all.
No one
It
really, yeah.
it was like it was more, as you said, like that friendship. Um,
There was like preset love, wasn't they? There was preset love, but there was no romance. I don't think there was really any romance, to be honest. There was maybe a little bit of flirting between Brianna and Heb. Maybe you could tell King Brennan really loved Alona. Um, and you can really tell that Corbin's mum and dad really loved each other. Like, but you didn't get romance. That's not the same, if that
no,
makes sense.
no, you got you
So,
got
so
genuine
for all you
feelings.
people out there that want an epic fantasy or an epically grim fantasy, whichever you kind of prefer to put it under, and it's not romantasy, so get it read.
It is not romantasy in any way, shape, or form, which
No,
is what we like. We like avoiding romantasy.
not me.
When was the last time you read anything romantasy?
To be fair, it was like Wielder and it was like 3 months ago. But in my defence, I don't love men at the minute. So I feel like when I maybe get back on the idea of having a relationship myself, the romance may take a step out again.
Fair, that is fair. But yeah, it's definitely this is not a romance. There is no romance in this book.
No,
There is.
no, there is not.
I suppose there is. Well, I suppose there's a little bit between Ronan and Kywin. So, um,
Uh, yes, but no. It was like I think they'd have just started. They went for a walk.
no, they kissed. They did kiss.
She kissed
Pretty
him on
sure
the
they.
cheek, didn't she? It
I
wasn't
thought
a
they
kiss
kissed.
kiss. Did they
Okay,
kiss?
I think so.
Did I miss? How would I have missed that?
I'm pretty sure they kissed. I can't remember exactly. I know there was mention of kiss, but I can't remember. You
I
can't
know.
go. You can't search through the whole book to try and find a kiss. We don't
I
have
can
time for
say.
that. Oh,
That's my notes.
so you
That's
just
only
were
half of them.
just searching for the word kiss.
Yeah. From what I can see, I didn't write down that there was a kiss in that chapter. But it could have been. But I was also kind of excited at the idea of the walk, and I think that had me.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that was again. It was a little bit hint of something, but nothing too heavy.
Yeah.
Uh, um. So I think kind of like speaking of Ronan brings us on to the start of the deaths because he
I
was
don't.
really the first one to die, wasn't he? Killed by Morkant. He was an asshole as well.
Yeah, he was.
You know, he was a little bit of a shit.
Just yeah. So he's Queen Rin's first sword, her
Yeah,
champion,
yes, because
and
he
he
fought.
he fought Tull.
Yes, he did fought. Yes, Toll. That was it,
He fought Tull. Yep.
and
Let's you
lost to
check.
Toll.
Look at me and my big brain.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was Tull or Pendatharin. I
Pendathrone.
want.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Pendathrone. Because Pendathrone doesn't get
Yeah.
the role until
After Toll dies.
Tull dies. So, because going back to Rowan, I think it was clear from my expression. That was the first time. Yeah, the first time I cried in this book. I think I cried. I'll be fair, guys. I cried a lot. Like,
Did
especially
you did did you
in the
cry at
second
every death?
half. No, not every death. So it was more right. There was 3 specific moments that I had tears in. Um, do you think you'd be able to guess them? Because they're not actually all deaths. 2 out of 3 are a death. 1 is
Uh,
not.
so obviously from there, Ronan
Yeah.
dying. Obviously, Kywin falling from the battlements.
Nope.
So I'm not sure if you're classing that as a death or if you're classing that as not a death because you
Well,
don't
I
know
didn't
what
believe.
happens.
Well, one, now I know it's not true. But I didn't believe it when I read it.
Okay.
If I'm honest. So
The third one, I would almost say it wouldn't shock me if you got a bit teary when he saved Storm.
it wasn't when he saved Storm.
Oh, it's when he
It
sent Storm
was
into the woods when they got banned. When he sent Storm away so he didn't die.
bawling, and I mean, I was sobbing, like absolutely sobbing, because I was like, no, don't leave it. I just don't. I just can't explain. Just go explain what happened. And honestly, I was a mess, like absolutely bawling my eyes out. There is one more.
So obviously, Ronan, Kywin, Storm
No,
going into
no, Kywin don't count. That was your guess, but it's not right. It don't count. It's not one. So you've got
so another death.
yeah.
It can't be the Queen because
No,
that
well,
one was not. No, okay. Trying to remember who else. Oh, was it when Castell dies?
no, I'll just tell you because
Oh,
you're actually missing quite a heartfelt one. His dad.
oh
Thanon.
yeah, yeah. I forgot about
When
that.
when Thanon died, especially because he died the way he did,
Yeah,
being the protector, and at the impact it had on Corbin watching it. The entire I won't like that entire scene was brutal anyway. Which can I just say, the action in this book, the action is it's written so well. It's not overdone. You're not there for ages where you're thinking, oh, I'm actually getting a bit bored of the stabby death. You're not getting bored of any of that because it's not being dragged out. It is so perfectly written that you get all of the action, the excitement, and it stops in good time. Like, and it matters. Everything that happens in those moments again matters, and you can picture everything. The way it's written, you can picture absolutely everything.
yes, I agree. There is only one small, very detail. It's probably the only thing in everything that I've read of his that annoys me a little bit. Is when somebody gets a little bit of a slice, he goes, a red line appears, and that little sentence in every single fight scene is like a red line appears on his throat, a red line appears on his shoulder. When you next read it and you read through those fight scenes again, you'll see how often it says that. And I was like, because I was just before we
I can
started
name
this,
one off
I
the
was
top of my head. It's when he fought Raph to the blood.
yeah,
I can tell you that exact moment he definitely did because he literally did a tiny scratch across his neck, didn't he?
yeah. And there's a lot of a thin red line from, and it was one of those where I don't know if it annoyed me. I think annoy is a strong word. I think I was just like, no, what's going to come here? And a red, like they're fighting, a red line appeared on his shoulder. A red line appeared near his throat. So it was kind of like, and the first couple of times it was like, oh right, I get, there's like the drama of it of getting cut, but it not being deep, especially when it's across the throat. But then it happened, like it was repeated, like in pretty much every fight, and I'm like, okay, so yeah, they got cut. Fine.
I wonder if I was just a bit excited because it was such a mix. Maybe I didn't realize because it was such a mix of different like sort of fights. Different people
Oh
were
yeah,
battling different things, weren't they? So I wonder if that's maybe why I missed it. But oh my god, I won't lie, I'm definitely going to pay attention to that now.
yeah, and it was just one of those things. It's like I was like, could we just find a different way of saying they got cut, a light cut?
Yeah.
But having said that, as you said, the fight scenes were so well written. Um, Again, it was one of those is like you could follow what was happening, and you could like in your mind's eye you could see it happening, what was happening. You know, you got those kind of like little bits where it's like, ooh, that's ooh, I can see that happening. I can see him ducking, and especially when you have like multiple points of view in the same fight, like when Castell and Macwin were having like there as well. Um, that was really good because you obviously getting 2 points of view of the same
Yeah.
fight, and it was
Yeah, you are, yeah.
I thought that was really good. So I like and that the throne room fight scene I thought was great, especially when you see Gar finally stretches like not his legs but his shoulders and start showing his skill with a blade, and the fact that
Yeah.
he goes through Nefer's eagle guards like that, and it was just like oof.
And he's like, and Corbin's just like,
Yeah.
what? What? And like, I knew he was going to be special from the off because of the way he was, but I didn't know quite what he would be. It was only, as I say, I'm still convinced. Well, I was still convinced for a good while that he was going to be an angel, basically. But he is a. Well, I suppose he still could be. I mean, I know you've read it, so I've got to stop speculating. But like,
Actually, right, I love the speculation because I know what's right and what's wrong.
but
It's
like,
great.
I just know, like, I know he was part of the Jaher, and he was definitely part of the group that. So they mention obviously quite like when it becomes a discussion, they mention that a group of them had actually left years before, and I know now. Well, I think now that was to protect Corbin. I
Yeah, I
don't
think
know. I don't know who else is involved in that because we only know Gar, but I do believe that that group left to protect
yeah,
Corbin.
and I think there was so much nuance in those characters. Like you're wondering who was there to protect him. Did the bad guys know he was actually somebody important, and that's why Evnis was kind of like stationed there as well, or was that just because Bryn wanted that nation for herself as well? It was so it left you wondering, and I think that's what was really good about it. It's why I ended up reading the whole fucking series in 3 days. Was
Yeah.
that there was you just wanted to know. There was so much you wanted to know and wanted to learn about these characters. Um, and I do like the fact that he wasn't scared to kill people off. Like, and I
Was he
think,
ill? If anything, to be fair.
that was great. Like, too many fantasy books, like they
Hold
wait
on.
till yeah
They
they
hold
hold
on,
on
don't they?
and they wait until um like right at the end of the series when they think, oh, you've really invested. But with the way he's written this book, because you're invested in characters so quickly because of the start, like the chopping and changing the point of views. Like, I'll be honest, when Castell got stabbed, and died, I was like, no, he's been one of the main characters in this book. I'm sure he'll find a way to make him alive again. And I was like, oh, he's dead.
Well, now I might cry because you've just confirmed he. I was
Pardon?
holding on to that. What do you mean?
What do I mean? What do I mean?
What do you mean he's dead?
He got
Seriously, like actually just dead.
he got stabbed
Because
in the
I,
stomach.
I knew he got stabbed, but I won't lie. Cohen's alive. And I honestly, with the way it faded, like, you know, I know he got stabbed and then faded to gone, but it was very
Yeah,
similar to her fall
but
to gone. But
no, it
she
was
won.
it wasn't because if you reread it back, and it's very written very differently. There's some bits that are kind of the same, but the way he was like as you said, like Kywin came back
Yeah.
before the end of the book. Are you rereading those scenes?
I just read it because it's right at the end of the chapter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're right.
Yeah. How did you not pick up on the fact he was dead?
It's that last line. It's that last line. I don't think I picked up on it. So where Cohen fades to fades to black, basically. It is a fade to black in it, and
Yeah,
it's kind of like, I don't think I clicked, to be fair, in my defence. A lot had happened.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd clicked because the last line of that chapter is the last thing he saw was Jail's boots. And that actually does make it really clear because that's the last thing that's done. Last thing done.
Yeah. The last thing he sees. So, and I was like, and that was like, I was like, wow, he's actually, like, as I was reading that, the end of that, as you said, the end of that chapter, I was like, okay, right. And then it's like, oh, fade to black, last thing he sees. It's like, shit, the last thing he sees. He's actually like this person that's been a main character in the book.
Yeah.
And the last, and it's like, we're gonna, and it's like, oh, how odd.
I will say Veridis has a lot to fucking say now.
Why? Veridis wasn't there.
Well, it was his fault.
He was outside.
Yeah, but he knew it was a trap he was sending them all into.
No,
he knew that. Yeah,
no,
you could tell
didn't.
he knew. He was
Nah.
Oh, I don't agree. I feel like he had a fate. He knew something wasn't right. And I think you get that inkling, and I actually think you get that inkling for his last few chapters throughout the book, where you get the inkling that he's not quite.
I think, yeah. I think he's like
He doesn't even mention warning him. Like, don't even mention say. I swear I wrote a note saying that he mentioned saying that he maybe should I have said something and didn't.
I don't know. I sympathise quite a lot with Veridis because he's obviously he's loyal and he's faithful to his friend and his king.
Who's a twat.
And you know, he's through that he believes that Nether is like the bright sun or the bright star, whatever it is. Bright star.
It's the bright star and the dark sun, if I'm right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think for me, yeah, I get where he was coming from in a lot of his stuff, and no matter what he might think, he'd be like, this is a little bit not 100% sure, but I still think he at no point did he think that the betrayal would be like that.
Okay, all right. Maybe I'll lay off him, but
especially as he was friends with Castell and Macquarin. I don't think he was.
Well, I think that's why I took it so. I won't lie. I took that entire situation so personally. And granted, I'm having to hold off all the emotions I was feeling the other day because now I'm feeling, oh god, no, he's actually dead. But like I'm actually every time I think about it, I'm like tearing up a bit because I was like, oh no, what do you mean he's actually died? Get myself together.
Not only was he was killed by cowardly JL.
It just shouldn't have happened. I know that shouldn't have happened, but I'm guessing, right? Okay, so his character can't have been for nothing, and I don't believe it was for nothing. So I'm guessing why he was important throughout this book is going to set the pace for what happens next, because I know there was a lot of politics and there was a lot of stuff to do with Jael and his uncle. There was a lot spoke about, so I wonder if maybe that's leading on to their, like, what happens next with them and that side of that part of that world. Maybe. Otherwise, I won't lie, if you've done that to me and made me fall in love with this really cute loner man that only had one real mate, and you just killed him off. Fuck you! Like, why just kill him? Why make me like someone?
And that's what I mean about the fact that he, like, I like the fact that he did that. like, I like the fact that he wasn't scared to kill off people that you love, and then be like, "This is what happens in war. People die. You can't."
People do, yeah.
And that's I think that's the thing that you kind of don't get with a lot of fantasy books, is that
No, do you know what credit you do? Especially the main groups, you don't
yeah,
lose
yeah, you might get the odd side character, but people
Liam,
who yeah,
if you know, you know.
yes,
Liam. That was
Throne
a
of Glass
heartbreaking one.
didn't.
No,
No, no.
no.
The other one with dragons.
Fourth week.
That's the one.
Yes.
They're all the same. Yeah. What I like about
We're ignoring that. That didn't happen. They're not. They're not all the same.
you're right. You're right. They're all much better than Metal Slinger. So one day we're going to go through one of these podcasts where I don't have a dig at Metal Slinger.
No, do you know what though? We'll just you can just put it with Jim Butcher, can't you? Because shit.
See, except for you've already admitted that you don't think it'd be shit if you didn't hate men.
Yeah, valid.
On the other hand, I will still never understand teenage girls, so it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, fair. Yeah, fair.
But yeah, back to John Gwynne. I really love the fact that he, like, he's
Inappropriate
not scared.
murder.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's not afraid to show what war's really like. And I think, as we were saying, like fantasy books, you generally don't, in wars, people live through the wars.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Weirdly, yeah. I will say you're actually right there. Yeah, they do.
the only other person who it reminds me of is, obviously we read Legend as part of our first episode, is David Gemmell. In that book, he wasn't scared to kill characters off, like
No.
in this one. So I think that's why it doesn't surprise me that he won the Morningstar, David Gemmell's Morningstar Award for this book, because there are some similarities in the way that they kill
Right.
people off, which I quite
The way they murder.
yeah, I like, because, and as we know with fantasy, just because somebody is dead doesn't mean they're dead, because they could come back as a ghost, a soul, something else. So
Yeah,
it's kind of like one of those where, yes, Castell died, but is he going to come back as something else, or is he going to be like a ghost? Is he going to be a soul? Is he going to be something that comes back as a talking crow? You know, all of those types of things. When you kind of like reading it, you're like, well, he's dead, but this is fantasy. So do dead people, how often do dead people actually fully stay dead? And it's not very often.
I feel like you just sent me in like 10 billion other different conspiracies about what could happen in this series.
I know, and the great thing is I know which ones are true and which ones aren't.
I yeah, because like immediately I was like, oh my god, does that mean the Crow is somebody? And then I was like, oh my god, who could it be? And then I was, oh. My guess would be the actual god. The actual god, like the good one. That'd be my guess.
Never even occurred to me to think that.
So I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
No, I meant when I was reading the book. Like, for me, like, I always just assumed Kraft was Kraft.
See, I don't know. I won't lie. I don't like. I didn't think about it until you just mentioned. But immediately when you mentioned, I was like, oh, he could be Ilion.
That would be cool.
It would be cool.
But yeah, so I like death. I like the way he kills people off, and he's not
So
scared.
while we're talking about how he kills people off, what do you think to what happened in that room? So we know that Mandros did not kill King Aquilus, Nefer's dad.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I won't lie. As soon as he ran from the room, as soon as Mandros ran away from that room and Veridis was outside, I was like, Nefer did it. I don't know how or why Nefer did it.
Yeah, I think that the way that was written, it was quite clear what happened in that room. It wasn't written as a mystery. It was
No,
written. It was written as
Veritas'
Nath-
perspective was what he
yeah,
had to
but
work out from that point what had happened.
yeah. Whereas I think that's the thing is that we know what happened, but Veridis doesn't believe Mandros. He believes
Except
that
he did, but that's why he killed him the way he did. And that, like, in my head, I was like, oh, well, you must believe what he's saying. You must believe there's some
I
truth to what he could be saying. I don't
I
feel like you'd kill him just out of anger.
disagree. I think he would. His love for Nether was so strong that the idea of somebody saying that this man that he's put on this pedestal could kill his own father for no reason, because at that point there was no reason for this, apart from to become king, made no sense to Veridis. So that was what caused his anger and caused him to kill
Yes.
Mandros.
I think there's two things going through my head right now. One, I do want to talk about the Veridis Nefer perspective, because I think that's like a really interesting take on how why and I think I understand why it was all done that way. So I'll get to that in a sec. But I think I think for me, I could see that Nefer was a bit of a tantrum. I could see that he was not happy, that he was not. It was like it was my way or the highway. He got to a point where he was like, "Well, I think this way, and I think it's correct. So why aren't you doing it?"
Yeah,
And he couldn't fathom why no one would understand why what he wants to do and what he wants to achieve is the right way to do everything. He just didn't. He just could not see anybody else's perspective on anything. Um, and I think he was really offended by his dad, and that's the only reason. Like that at that point, I thought like he's killed his dad off because so he can do what he wants to do. He's not done it because of lack of love. He's not done it for any of that. He's done it purely because his dad said no.
yeah, I agree. I think it's because he has been made to believe he's the bright star, therefore he is the be all and end all. He's God's champion. He's why would anybody not be able to see this and want him and everything to be right in his world?
And can we just say, the more he was convinced he was the bright star, the more I was not convinced. The more I was like, nope, you're the dark one.
Yeah, again, I mean that was written fairly. I think that was it. It wasn't. I like
It's
the
still
fact
not
that
explicit. It's still not clearly explicit. Like, even at the end of this book, you wouldn't. Like, I know, we know as readers, we do know, but it's not actually yet being
oh yeah,
said.
yeah,
None of these
it's
things have actually been said.
no,
That's the
but
bit I wanted to make clear.
yeah, but it's clear that it is what it is.
Carbon's going to be the bright star, and Nefer's the dark sun.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that was how you read it, and that you know that from probably about halfway through the
Chapter,
book.
yeah, I'd say probably about chapter 40. I think I
Yeah,
think it was about like by the time I really knew. Um,
but yeah,
yeah, because he didn't kill his dad until uh, about chapter 49. No, 50.
yeah. So I think it was fairly. I mean, even before that, like the way he was behaving was very not very bright star and more
No,
dark.
more. I'm a sad little boy that isn't getting his way.
Yeah,
Stab myself. I actually, to be fair, credit he also nearly overdid it. He actually nearly killed himself in the process, which I thought was very, very funny. But what I did want to talk about was the perspective. So, like, I wrote a note around chapter 46 saying, Veridis, because I wrote whose chapter it was. Veridis, even though it should be fair, because all these chapters are just about him. And I was like thinking about it, and it made me think about why. Like, why is that the case? Because if we'd have been in Nefer's head, we'd have got too much information too quickly. I think we'd have got we'd have seen his personality, we'd have seen his thought processes directly from him, and we'd have understood far too early where this boy was going to go. It needed to be Veritas' perspective so that he could share him growing up with Nafar, because realistically they're both around the same age when they meet and they grow together and they become brothers. That's important, but then also you get to see his perspective of what Nafar's doing rather than why Nafar's doing it.
Yeah, I agree. I also think Nefer's point of view would be very dull
It would be
because
actually.
there was never, for a lot of it there was never, or there never seemed to be any doubt. He was just a whiny little bitch who believed in himself too much, and that was what you would get from that. Whereas with Veritas's point of view, he's watching and believing in his brother, his best friend, his prince, then his king. He's worshipping this person almost. And then when he finds out that he's the bright star, it just amplifies that kind of like hero worship that he's got. And
yeah.
from the third point of view,
he did the same to his brother, didn't he? In a sense, he put his brother on a pedestal. So you do see that he has the potential to do that to somebody early on, don't you? Krellis.
yes,
I think his brother's called.
yeah. So I think there's, he was quite clearly another. I think what he's done is kind of like, if you look at all the young men, they're all quite lonely young men throughout.
Yeah.
Like, even though Corbin's got a few friends, he feels like an outsider. Veridis felt like an outsider from his dad and his brother. Castell was again an outsider. Even Camlin, he was an outsider from his
He was.
he didn't want to kill women and children, so he's slightly an outsider from his group. So all of the male characters you look at and you're like, actually, they're all outsiders. Their point of view is all around like, how are they're making families, not just like romantically, but they are build. This first book is a lot about how they're building their families to overcome that like that loneliness. So Corbin's obviously Gar was a part of his life, but became more part of his life when he started doing the sword dance training. Veridis obviously got Nether and then became part of like a general in that army, and the soldiers that he had around him was that. Obviously Castell had Maquin to begin with, but then they joined the Gerades? Gerdes?
Gadri. The Gadri.
Gadri.
And I only know that because of the audiobook, I'll be fair. I'd have been like, Gadri.
No, that's fine. I just couldn't remember what they were called. Like, but yeah, the Gadri. So yeah, a lot of it was them building families for themselves. So these and then like you look at the difference between Corbin and Veridis and who they're choosing for their family is leading them down very different paths.
You're so right. I don't know why I didn't put that together, but actually, yeah, you're so right. I was just thinking through it, and I'm like, yeah, no, you're right, because it's also removing people that aren't going to help their development any further. Like, unfortunately, I don't have this experience in my life, but like, Corbin's dad loved him through and through, like all the way through, like, and to the point where he really supported him, and that support wasn't going to teach him anything else, which is why it was important to kill him, because at the end that grief is what's going to help him really develop further into a man. And I do think that's a big part of what'll make him like into who he becomes throughout the next like three books. And I am excited to see kind of what comes after that, because he gave Farrell his dad's hammer. And it made me, I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And he was like, you can use it. And I'm like, oh. It killed me off.
I love that. Middle of battle. You can use it. I think it was slightly more energetic than.
And, I was crying, so the book might have been, but I was like, oh, so nice. It was like, you're helping the scared boy be good, because he was scared, and that's all he was. I wouldn't say he was a coward. I know they got treated like cowards, and
Mm,
obviously his Pharrell's father was a coward, and that was made really obvious. But like none of these boys were, except maybe Daff.
no.
Daff's just a bit lame, I think. Like he's like a funny side character, and he has meaning, and he's been through a lot, and it shows Corbin's compassion more than anything else. But I didn't rate that character too much.
What, that?
Daff, yeah,
I did, because I like it showed a different side to Corbin.
yeah.
Like, he was a very serious character, apart from when he was with Dad. And it allowed Corbin to
It
be.
reminds you as a kid. It
He's a kid,
reminds you as a kid.
and that he's not serious all the time. And I think that's like, with books like this, you can get to the stage where, and you got it with all the characters, like even Feridis and Nether, Castell and McQuinn. You got
That little
humor
bit
in
of
them.
home, yeah, that little bit of home and that little bit of humour where they had to be honest, they all had moments where they were normal.
Yeah,
I guess is the best way to put it. Like they would do the sword fighting at the beginning when they get those practice swords from Ventos. When they get those practice swords in there prior to what happens afterwards.
yeah,
Prior to what happens afterwards. The way they're playing and they're literally laid on the grass laughing and exhausted because they've just been playing with these practice swords.
yeah. Going back to that, what I really like is the way he moves time forward. Because if you think that first book is probably inside the book's about a year and a half long.
Yeah, so it is. I think it's exactly that. I think it's 18 months. I worked it out because
Uh,
every time I've got a problem. Yeah, it's roughly about 18 months. It goes over, so it's like exactly a year and a half.
yeah, because there's lots of this happens over the course of a 10 night, and it's like,
Yes.
but you don't go, oh, I wonder what else has happened in that 10 night. You're like, okay, right, that's fine. It's moved the story along nicely. You know, so you're getting moved along, but you don't feel like you're missing out on anything. I think that's
No,
he does that really well.
I think because you get so much, don't you? Like you get so much of what is happening and what actually again matters. I can't stress enough. Every word, every paragraph in this matters. Like it's so relevant to the story that you're right. You don't miss anything. You're not wanting for anything. And if you are, you're gonna get it in 3 chapters.
Yeah,
Two,
exactly.
maybe, depending on which part of the book you're in. Because obviously there is a good while, I think, where it's literally just Corbin, Veridis, a couple of other people, Corbin, Veridis, like all the way, like, so like you're not waiting too long for any answers, and you don't miss the time you've missed.
No,
Like I thought it was really clever that clearly the tension was rising, towards the back end of the book, towards the end of the book, the tension was clearly rising, and Corbin's name day was a week away, 3 days away, it's something like that. It was a bit of time away, and they brought it forward because they wanted Corbin to fight, but they did that also to progress the story, um, so that we were then waiting for this gap and this tension to build even further. We'd already built it because we knew this name day was coming, and they used the excuse of the upcoming war with Owen, that right, Corbin, you do it so then you can be a sword in the battle. And then he got his first battle very quickly, but it's not so quickly that you think, Jesus, how's that happened? How have we got from A to B? It all made sense. Like
yeah,
every bit of it made sense. The way Brennan responded, that's another death we haven't touched. The way Brennan responded, I thought was like really good. I thought it was a bit of a wet wipe, the after his wife died. Even though I appreciate his wife died, but like.
yeah.
But he
I
did get. To
think
be fair, he got drugged as well, didn't he? To be fair, there was a potion that to slow him down in his drinks, but he was still necking him back.
yeah. I think Brennan was. They gave him enough substance to make him matter, but I think he was there just to kind of like push parts of the
Like,
story along.
yeah,
Um,
and I liked that because again, it's a fantasy book where the royalty is not that important.
mm,
because
Yeah,
it's not like, do you know what I mean? Like the monarchs as often is, even though like a lot of them are vital characters for different reasons, none of them are vital characters because they are royalty.
yeah,
I
exactly.
would say. Is that would you say that's right?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Apart from the third.
yeah, yeah. But to be fair, I just think so little of him. Is King who? Not
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I agree. I think I think across the board, royalty. The only time royalty matters is when royalty matters. It's they're not.
Yeah.
It's not royalty for royalty's sake. Not all the heroes are royalty. Not
No.
all like, and like again that not making Adana get with Corbin, I thought was really important because then it would be like, oh, he's just married. They're doing this so that he can have his own kingdom and make him royalty.
Make him important
Yeah,
when really all of the, as I say, I've said so many times, all of these characters are important in their own right, but Corbin is not going to be important because he's going to become royalty. He's going to be important because of who he's going to become.
yeah, and I really like the escape as well at the end, like of Corbin and his friends.
Is it Helion?
Yes,
Love him, love him. I loved him from the minute we met him. I was just a bit disappointed in his brother, but I understand also that he was being brainwashed by Evnis and all that other jazz because he was literally feeding him enchantments and stuff, wanting like to get him to feed the jealousy and stuff and cause this tension between Connell
mm-hmm.
and Helion. But the training arc. It's very rare that you get a training arc where you're actually like proper rooting for him because he's not failing. Like, and I won't like it's. I'm not. I've read it so many times where we've read it where they've had a training arc. It's been rough and they've had to try really, really hard and they've had to be creative and on how they succeed at it. And all these other things. It was nice just to hear Corbin get cheered on. Like, do you know what? You're doing great. There's something special about you. I actually well done. Like, it
Yeah,
was nice to have that. Like, especially cause everything else that was happening around it, like all the politics that was going on, was so heavy. It was really nice to have these guys just be as much as important as they are, or they're going out and they're fighting these battles, or they're doing all of these different scary things. These men have each other's back. They care about each other in this book, like all round. Like you've got Gar that cares about everybody. You've got Corbin that actually loves a lot. You've got Fannin that loves a lot. Helion cares about this royal family. He really respects Brennan and he's grateful for the life that he's been given. And you just don't get a lot of. I'm gonna say it this way because it's the easiest way for me to explain it. There's not a lot of mean girl energy, and where there is mean girl energy, it develops the character. And there's
mm.
only one, well, two people that are really guilty of it, I think, in this book, and that would be Raph and Helfak, who I won't lie, I hate probably to the level I hate Professor Umbridge. To be honest, like I was just like, you're a grown ass man. You're a grown, not Raph, but Helfak. Come on, you're a grown ass man. Get a grip, pal. And I'm glad his dog died. I don't begrudge dogs dying. I don't want dogs to die. His hound died.
No, we don't like the hound dying. Him dying is fine, but the dog dying is not.
The dog dying meant that he couldn't lead the hunt, and he didn't deserve that. So yes, we don't want the dog. I'd rather have the dog being injured. And I will say I can't stress enough. I am not an abuser. I fucking love animals, like I really do, and it really is really sad. And I was a bit like, oh, the dog, but because it's his and he was going to benefit, I'm glad it was gone.
Yeah, I think the use of animals in it is really good throughout the whole book as well.
Yes. So right, do which I know we've been over Storm, but we haven't really been over Storm because there's so much of it. The development he makes with that dog in himself and well, Wolven dog, not a dog. It's a Wolven. The development he goes through and the way Storm grows to really care about him as well. is just, you just don't get it, do you? You don't get that from, and it's so like it's so close to how people bond with their animals.
Mm.
They become a part of you. Like he was so devastated when it got to that point where Raph again causing all the big problems. Raph comes in and after already been tormenting Corbin all the way through this book, waits for Corbin to become a warrior because he's a year or so older. He's been on the Rowan Fields, which is the training fields, for a year or so before Corbin has, which to be honest makes him a pathetic little shit going for a child, if you ask me. But you know, who am I? Oh, I just fucking hated him.
Well, King Brennan agreed with you
Yes, he
and
did.
took his sword away.
And I was like, yes! But then his wife got killed and he gave it back. And then he was like, I challenge you. And he's like, I challenge you to a duel. And Corbin's like, fuck's all right. Fine. But, and then he wins. But that's not the point. So the reason the duel happens is because of this situation. So the agreement was that he could keep Storm with Queen Alana. He spoke to her. He could keep Storm as long as she does not injure anybody, as long as she does not bite anybody, basically. She does not hurt another person in Duncarrig, I think the place is called. Doesn't hurt another person in that area. And for a year, it is about a year, isn't it? For a year, she doesn't.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd say about a year. Yeah. About a year. She doesn't. And then Raph corners Farrell in the Bagdon Forest, isn't it? Or is it just in the... it's just in the forest anyway. He corners him there, Farrell, and Corbin loses his shit, basically, because it was getting to a point where you could clearly... He didn't want to step in, but you could tell that it was clearly going to get to a point where Farrell was going to be injured to the point of probably no real return. Not necessarily death, but it wasn't looking good for him, was it? So Corbin steps in, and granted, it is not that successful at first, and Raph pretty much tries to kill him. And that moment is what causes Storm, isn't it, to step in, and she attacks Raff, whatever you want to call him, Riff Raff, dickhead, whatever you fancy. I didn't like him, as you could probably tell, because I think I've just spent 10 minutes telling you I don't like him. But so then he steps in to protect Corbin. The problem is, in my head right there and then, is that if he hadn't have tried to kill him, she wouldn't have done it. She wouldn't have done it.
But she did.
And then we have that whole ordeal of, and do you know what, can I just say, I think that was the longest wait between Corbin chapters ever, thank you very much, before I got to the point of we knew what was happening next.
Well, I think that was probably the point, was to make it, give you that kind of like, shit, what Suspense. Is happening? Yeah.
I didn't think she was going to be gone forever, I'll be honest, I didn't. I think their bond was too strong. I knew that something was going to happen. I couldn't tell you how. At that point, I literally could not tell you how I think they would have brought her back. But I think the way they did was great, because she became useful and they had no choice but to use her. And I think that was mint, because it put Corbin on a bit of a pedestal. Well, he's like, well, I'm not giving her up again now, but I'm just not going to say anything until someone else does. And then the someone else, obviously, is Riff. And he has such a big problem with it.
Yeah.
And then 100%. Eventually challenges him to the duel, which is how they end up in that fight in the first place. And Corbin wins.
He does.
That's all I care about.
Which wasn't necessarily the best thing for him, though. Like, as part of that, it's like, one of the things that leads to bad things happening in the Battle of the Throne Room, doesn't it?
That's not what leads to the battle. That's just the distraction prior to the battle.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. But I think there's a lot. There.
I think the thing is, I could talk about this book for 4 hours. because
Yeah.
so much happened, and so much mattered. And I know I've said that so much throughout this entire, so far, an hour and 16 minutes. But I can't drop the fact that it all did matter. Like, and I'm trying to, I want to tell you about all of my favourite bits, but I think it was chapter 1 to 88.
Is that the whole
Like,
book?
I did the whole book. There's just not a bit of it I didn't love. And it
Which is,
devastated me. I was crying.
well, that's good. That's a sign of a good book.
It is a very good book.
So,
But I'm trying to think, I'm now just looking through my notes. Is there anything, I'm trying to think, is there anything throughout that I really want to mention? Because we should probably, like, close off with any special mentions of little bits that we just want to...
see, I don't have any little bits. I think it was just as a whole. Like, and for me, obviously, having read the rest of the series, I can't remember if any of my favourite little bits are in this book or one of the other books, so I don't want to give anything away.
Fair enough. So, I did do a little bit of my final thoughts. So, the first thing I wrote when I finished the book was, very specifically, this is the entire note, fuck me, I need to read the next ones immediately.
Yet you didn't. You went on to something else because the internet told you to.
Well, actually, I've done both. I've done both. I've read one chapter of each so far. That is it. And then, so basically, my final kind of thoughts on this book was, the pacing in the book is incredible. Obviously we've already said 1,000 times, but no chapter was filling any gaps. Everything that happens with a reason. It's one of the best first books in a series I think I've pretty much ever read. Because what I will say is that first books are difficult. Because they're a massive setup for, especially when it's a series, they're a massive setup for what's to come. And you don't want to give too much away. You don't want to build your characters up to be perfect yet or anything like that. But as far as a first book goes, I could not put this down. I absolutely could not put it down, and I want to read the second one immediately. I know you have. I just think I've like even like Throne of Glass is a good book, but it gets better as it goes on. Like, ACOTAR, book 2 is better than 1. Like, I'm going off, like, girly fantasy right now, and I know ACOTAR's romantasy, and we've already spoke about how our feelings there. But, like, even I don't know, even Game of Thrones, like, really, I think my favourite Game of Thrones book's actually the third one. So, like, same with Harry Potter, I suppose, not without giving her too much fucking screen time. Same with that, like, my favourite is never going to be the first. So for me to say that I've read the first book in this series and I absolutely loved it, if not probably one of my favourite books of this year so far, if not my favourite book of the year so far, I haven't decided yet. We're only in July. I love it.
It's by far my favourite book of the year.
Yeah, I really loved it, and I'm glad that we've read it. To be honest, and I'm really glad that I put it forward.
Really weird. I hadn't read it, but I bought it in 2014. So I when I was like going to buy it, I was like, and it was in my Kindle library. So I bought it 12 years ago.
That's insane.
Just never read it.
And then it came on my radar probably a couple of months ago, and I bought the series because I knew I wanted to read the series. So I bought the 4 books of the Fateful and the Fallen series, which is what this book's from. It came on my radar, and I just had it sat on my shelf, and I've been like, I really want to start that. I really want to read it. And just not had the opportunity to, because obviously we've had other podcast books to read, and I've been finishing other series, and new books are coming out left, right, and centre, and it's really hard to pick which one you want to read. So putting it forward for this pod, like for what we do here, I thought brilliant, because 1, we get to talk about it, and 2, I've got the time committed. I have to read it, so
yeah,
it was such a good choice.
I agree.
If I do say so myself.
It was a very good choice. I can't complain. So, right, Malice done. So the question is, next time. So we're going to continue with this format where we're going to read books that neither one of us has read, which I think will be fun because obviously we've had a really good discussion about this one.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this. It's been a lot more collaborative rather than back and forth.
Rather than us not liking the one that the other ones picked.
Stormfront. What? Did you hear that?
Do you want me to list the ones that you've picked?
No.
Because let's be honest,
I'm just saying, Light Wielder was a very good sequel to Metal Slinger. I'm just saying.
Well, it couldn't have been any worse. Like, honestly, you could not have got any worse than that first book in that series. Like, if it had gone downhill, I would have been worried for that author. Hey, you wanted to bring up the Stormfront, so you're going to get Metal Slinger back.
And it's always good, to be fair. We're going to have to... So we'll do, obviously, when we get there, when we do the Charlie v. Rob again, because it will come back, it will be a thing. When the next time we need to hate each other's books so much that it replaces Stormfront and Metal Slinger.
I think the first time that we do Charlie v. Rob again, you read book 2 of the Dresden Files and I'll read Light Wielder, seeing as they were the two that have caused the most controversy between us, and see how we feel after reading book 2s.
You've got a deal. I still don't think you'll like it.
I think you will like this.
It might sell me him. I might like him.
Yeah, hopefully, touch wood. But excellent. So next time, what book have we got for next time?
So, sorry guys, it's me pick again because I was semi-organised.
A little bit of a dig there, but we'll let it pass.
So I know, I'm so sorry. It really, it fell out and I was like, oh, that was bitchy. Sorry. For the record, it's the most organised I've ever been. So.
And you were talking about mean girl energy not being around.
It's all me. What can I say?
Cool. So anyway, book for next time.
So it just feels like the right choice for right now. We are going with Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinningham, I think.
Yeah, let's go with it. Dinnerman.
It's got 2 N's. Dinni man.
Yeah.
Dinnyman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it goes without saying, they've just decided they're going to make this into a TV show, so it is in fact all over the internet right now. Which means we need to read it before the spoilers. So
yeah,
let's get it ready.
Let's do it. Excellent. So that's our next book, Dungeon Crawler Carl. So this has been Old Myths and New Legends with Charlie and Rob. So have a great time, and we will see you next time.
You will. Bye.
Bye.